We look up at the night sky and see stars, planets, and galaxies, bright lights in a vast cosmic sea. But beyond what we can see, the universe hides countless strange and fascinating secrets. Tonight, we explore some of the most surprising and incredible facts about space, facts that will change how you see the cosmos forever. Prepare yourselves as we dive into the wonders above. We begin. The local bubble is a giant, low-density cavity in the interstellar medium in which our sun currently travels. This peanut-shaped void is about 300 light-years across and is thought to have been carved out by a series of supernova explosions that occurred 10 to 20 million years ago. All the nearby stars and stellar nurseries sit on the surface of this bubble. The Lyrid meteor shower is one of the oldest known, observed for at least 2,700 years. This annual celestial event occurs when the Earth passes through the trail of dust left by comet Cis 1861 G1, or Thatcher. The first recorded sighting was by Chinese astronomers in 687 BC, who described it as stars falling like rain. Astronauts on the ISS experience cosmic flashes even with their eyes closed. These flashes are caused by high-energy cosmic rays passing through the astronaut's retina or optic nerve, a strange visual phenomenon unique to the space environment. This serves as a constant reminder of the intense radiation beyond Earth's protective magnetosphere. Gliese 436b is an exoplanet known as the burning ice planet. This Neptune-sized planet orbits incredibly close to its star, resulting in surface temperatures of around 439 degrees Celsius or 822 degrees Fahrenheit. Despite the extreme heat, immense pressure from the planet's gravity keeps the water on its surface in a solid, exotic state called Ice X. The Hubble Space Telescope was launched with a flawed mirror. Upon its deployment in 1990, the main mirror was found to have a spherical aberration of just 1/50th the thickness of a human hair, which caused blurry images. A corrective optics package, COSTER, was installed by astronauts during a servicing mission in 1993, completely fixing the problem. The turn left at Orion command was a real navigational instruction for the Apollo 8 crew. When the astronauts were returning from the first ever orbit of the moon, they temporarily lost their navigational lock on Earth. Mission Control advised them to manually find the constellation Orion to reorient their spacecraft for the journey home. The planet Jupiter has Trojan asteroids that share its orbit around the Sun. These two large groups of asteroids are trapped in Jupiter's L4 and L5 Lagrange points, one group leading the planet and one group trailing it. NASA's Lucy mission, launched in 2021, is the first to explore these primitive remnants from the solar system's formation. The Sun's twin, HD1 86302, is a star almost identical to our own and may host life. Located about 184 light-years away, this star has the same size, temperature, luminosity, and chemical composition as our Sun. Scientists believe it was born from the same stellar nursery, making its planets prime candidates in the search for Earth-like worlds. The first image transmitted from Mars showed the footpad of the lander. When NASA's Viking 1 sent its first picture from the Martian surface in 1976, the initial scan was of its own foot to ensure it had landed on stable ground. This engineering check preceded the now famous panoramic images of the Martian landscape. The Eye of Sauron is the nickname for the Helix Nebula. This planetary nebula, one of the closest to Earth, bears a striking resemblance to the malevolent Eye from The Lord of the Rings. The Eye is actually a dying star, similar to our Sun, shedding its outer layers into space. The New Horizons spacecraft carries some of the ashes of Pluto's discoverer, Clyde Tombaugh. The small aluminum capsule containing the ashes is inscribed with a tribute to the American astronomer. This makes him the first human to have their remains travel beyond the orbit of the planets. The Little Green Men's Signal, or LGM-1, was the first discovery of a pulsar. In 1967, astronomer Jocelyn Bell Burnell detected a perfectly regular radio pulse and half-jokingly nicknamed it LGM-1 for its artificial seeming regularity. It was soon identified as the natural emission from a rapidly spinning neutron star, a groundbreaking discovery. Saturn's moon Mimas has a massive crater that makes it look like the Death Star. The Herschel crater is 130 kilometers or 81 miles across, covering nearly a third of the moon's diameter, with a central peak almost as tall as Mount Everest. The impact that created it was so powerful, it nearly shattered the small moon entirely. The Earth's continents are expected to merge into a supercontinent called Amatia in 200 million years. This future landmass is predicted to form when the Americas and Asia drift northward to merge, closing off the Arctic Ocean. This cycle of supercontinent formation and breakup has happened several times over Earth's history. The Space Shuttle Enterprise never flew in space. Originally intended for orbital missions, it was built as a test vehicle for atmospheric glide tests, launched from the back of a modified Boeing 747. A letter-writing campaign by Star Trek fans successfully convinced the White House to name it Enterprise instead of the planned Constitution. There is a type of supernova called a luminous red nova, caused by merging stars. Unlike traditional supernovae from collapsing massive stars, these events occur when two stars in a closed binary system spiral into each other and merge violently. The 2008 event, known as V1309 Scorpiae, was the first time astronomers witnessed a star just before it underwent this type of merger. The Earth has a faint third Van Allen radiation belt that comes and goes. In 2013, NASA's Van Allen probes discovered this temporary ring of high-energy particles, which can last for several weeks before being dissipated by solar weather. Its transient nature explains why it had gone undetected for over 50 years. The most distant known object in our solar system is a dwarf planet nicknamed Far Far Out. Officially designated 2018 AG37, it was about 132 astronomical units or AU from the Sun when discovered, which is 132 times the distance from Earth to the Sun. Its extremely elongated orbit will take it out to 175 AU and can last up to 1,000 years. The first American to eat in space was John Glenn, who found the experience unpleasant. During his 1962 orbit, he squeezed applesauce from a tube and consumed malt tablets to test the process of eating in zero gravity. He reported that the mechanics of eating were easy, but that the food itself was not very appealing. The Sun will one day be surrounded by a beautiful planetary nebula. When the Sun runs out of fuel in about 5 billion years, its outer layers will drift away and be ionized by the hot core, forming a glowing shell of gas. Many of the most stunning images from Hubble are of other stars in this final phase of their life cycle. The Bok globule is a dark, dense cocoon of gas and dust where new stars are born. These small, isolated clouds are so opaque that they block out all visible light from behind them, appearing as inky black patches against starry backdrops. Within these cosmic nurseries, gravitational collapse eventually leads to the formation of protostars. A standard candle is an astronomical object with a known brightness used to measure cosmic distances. Because their intrinsic luminosity is known, astronomers can compare it to their apparent brightness as seen from Earth to calculate their distance. Type supernovae are one of the most reliable types of standard candles for measuring the vast distances between galaxies. The red shift of a galaxy is a measure of how fast it is moving away from us. As the universe expands, light from distant galaxies gets stretched to longer, redder wavelengths, a phenomenon similar to the Doppler effect for sound. By measuring a galaxy's redshift, astronomers can determine its recession speed and its distance from Earth. The first woman to fly on two different types of spacecraft was Svetlana Savitskaya. The Soviet cosmonaut first flew on a Soyuz T-7 in 1982, and then on a Soyuz T-12 in 1984, during which she also became the first woman to perform a spacewalk. Her historic spacewalk lasted for 3 hours and 35 minutes outside the Salyut 7 space station. The largest known diamond in the universe is a star named BPM 37093, nicknamed Lucy. It is a crystallized white dwarf star, essentially a planet-sized diamond of compressed carbon, located about 50 light-years away. This cosmic gem has a mass of about 1.1 times that of our Sun, and is estimated to be 10 billion trillion carats. The Great Silence is another term for the Fermi paradox. It refers to the puzzling absence of any detectable signals or evidence from advanced extraterrestrial civilizations. Despite the high probability that they exist, this silence has led to numerous hypotheses, from the idea that we are truly alone to the possibility that advanced civilizations are intentionally hiding. The first astronomy-themed computer game was Space Travel, developed in 1969. Created by Ken Thompson, it simulated travel through the solar system and was a precursor to the famous game Asteroids. The development of this game was also instrumental in the creation of the Unix operating system. Saturn's moon Ipetus is a two-toned world with one bright and one dark hemisphere. Its leading hemisphere is coated in a dark reddish material, while its trailing hemisphere is bright and icy. This stark contrast is likely caused by Iapetus sweeping up dark dust knocked off of Saturn's outer moon Phoebe as it orbits. The Tolman-Oppenheimer-Volkoff limit is the maximum mass for a non-rotating neutron star. If a stellar core collapse results in an object exceeding this limit, roughly 2 to 3 solar masses, nothing can stop its complete gravitational collapse. The object is then expected to continue collapsing to form a black hole. The first space mail was a postcard carried aboard the Columbia shuttle in 1982. The United States Postal Service authorized 261,900 stamped envelopes to be flown on the shuttle's fourth mission. This was done primarily to demonstrate the potential for future commercial transport aboard the space shuttle. The interplanetary superhighway is a network of low-energy pathways through the solar system. These routes, defined by the gravitational interactions between planets and moons, allow spacecraft to travel with very high fuel efficiency. Japan's Hiten spacecraft was the first to successfully utilize this concept to reach the moon. The constellation Menset is named after a mountain. It was named by French astronomer Nicolas Louis de Lacaille in the 18th century after Table Mountain in South Africa, from where he made many of his observations. It is the only constellation named after a terrestrial feature and is notable for containing part of the Large Magellanic Cloud. The Earth is hit by about 100 tons of micrometeoroids every day. Most of this material is extremely small, ranging from the size of a dust particle to a grain of sand, and burns up harmlessly in the atmosphere. This constant cosmic dust influx has been happening throughout Earth's history. The James Webb Space Telescope's sunshield is the size of a tennis court. The 5-layer, kite-shaped shield is crucial for keeping the telescope's sensitive infrared instruments extremely cold at about -233 degrees Celsius or -388 degrees Fahrenheit. Each layer is thinner than a human hair and is made of a material called kapton. The Gegenschein is a faint, oval-shaped glow in the night sky directly opposite the sun. This optical phenomenon is caused by sunlight backscattering off interplanetary dust particles in the solar system. It is so faint that it can only be seen in very dark, clear skies, away from all light pollution. The Blue Ring Nebula is a cosmic mystery that was solved after 16 years of study. It appears as a unique ultraviolet ring around a central star and is now understood to be the remnant of a merger between two stars. We are viewing the cone-shaped debris cloud from the collision nearly head-on, creating the ring-like illusion. The first human-made object to escape the solar system's gravity was Pioneer 10. Launched in 1972, it was the first spacecraft to traverse the asteroid belt and make direct observations of Jupiter. It officially crossed the orbit of Pluto in 1983, heading out into interstellar space. A quasar is an extremely bright galactic core powered by a supermassive black hole. These objects are among the most luminous, powerful, and energetic objects known in the universe, emitting up to 1,000 times the energy output of the entire Milky Way. They are so bright, they can be seen from billions of light years away. The green flash is an optical phenomenon that can occur shortly after sunset or before sunrise. When conditions are right, a distinct green spot is briefly visible above the upper rim of the sun's disk. It is caused by the refraction of sunlight in the atmosphere, which separates the light into different colors like a prism. The first meal cooked in space was corned beef hash on Gemini 3 in 1965. Astronaut John Young smuggled a corned beef sandwich on board, but the official first meal cooked was a rehydrated packet of corned beef hash. NASA was not pleased about the sandwich, as crumbs could have floated into sensitive equipment. The Schwarzschild radius is the radius of the event horizon of a non-rotating black hole. For any given mass, if it is compressed to a size smaller than its Schwarzschild radius, it will inevitably collapse into a black hole. For Earth, this radius is only about 9 millimeters, or the size of a sugar cube. The frost line in a protoplanetary disk is the boundary beyond which volatile compounds can freeze. Inside this line, closer to the star, rocky planets like Earth and Mars form. Outside the frost line, where it is colder, gas giants like Jupiter and Saturn can form by accreting ice and gas. The last words spoken on the moon were, "Okay, Jack. Let's get this limo on the road." These were said by Apollo 17 Commander Eugene Cernan to his pilot Harrison Jack Schmitt as they prepared the lunar module for takeoff. This marked the end of the Apollo program's lunar explorations. The first satellite launched by the United Kingdom was Prospero in 1971. It was launched on a British-made rocket called Black Arrow, making the UK the sixth nation to successfully launch its own satellite. The satellite is still in orbit and is not expected to decay for another 100 years. A blazar is a type of quasar where the relativistic jet is pointed directly at Earth. This alignment causes the blazar's light to be intensely beamed and amplified, making it appear extremely bright and variable. It gives astronomers a direct view down the barrel of a galaxy's central engine. The airglow is a faint emission of light by a planet's atmosphere. On Earth, this chemiluminescence makes our night sky not completely dark, even without moonlight or starlight. It is caused by various processes in the upper atmosphere, such as the recombination of ions that were photoionized by the sun during the day. The Great Walls of Galaxies, or the CFA-2 Great Wall, was the largest known structure in the universe until the 1990s. This massive galactic filament is over 500 million light-years long, 300 million light-years wide, but only 15 million light-years thick. Its discovery in 1989 challenged existing models of the large-scale structure of the universe. The Kármán line is the internationally recognized boundary of space, located at an altitude of 100 kilometers or 62 miles above sea level. It is the point where the atmosphere becomes too thin to support aeronautical flight. Any vehicle traveling above this line is generally considered to be in outer space. The first dog to orbit the Earth and return safely was Strilka, along with her companion Belka. Strilka orbited the Earth 18 times aboard Sputnik 5 in 1960. One of Strilka's puppies was later given as a gift to President John F. Kennedy's daughter, Caroline. The star Proxima Centauri has a superflare so powerful it would have been visible to the naked eye. In 2019, the closest star to our Sun unleashed a flare that was 100 times more powerful than any recorded from our own Sun. Such flares likely sterilize the surface of its orbiting planets, diminishing their chances of hosting life. The magnetospheres of Ganymede makes it a unique moon. Jupiter's largest moon is the only one in the solar system known to have its own substantial magnetic field, which carves out a mini magnetosphere within Jupiter's larger one. This suggests it has a liquid iron core, much like a terrestrial planet. The Poynting-Robertson effect causes space dust to spiral into the Sun. This effect is caused by the pressure and momentum of solar radiation, which acts like a headwind on small dust particles orbiting the Sun. Over long periods, this force robs the particles of their orbital energy, causing them to slowly fall inward. The Cat's Eye Nebulae is one of the most structurally complex nebulae ever seen. Hubble images reveal intricate structures, including jets, knots, and arc-like features, all part of the ejected shell of a dying star. Its complexity suggests the dying star may be part of a binary system. The light echo phenomenon allows astronomers to see supernovae in 3D. When a star explodes, its light can reflect off surrounding dust clouds, creating echoes that arrive at Earth later than the direct light. By studying these echoes, astronomers can reconstruct the three-dimensional structure of the space around the supernova. The local groups is the cluster of galaxies that includes the Milky Way. It contains over 80 galaxies, most of which are small dwarf galaxies gravitationally bound to the three largest members: the Andromeda Galaxy, the Milky Way, and the Triangulum Galaxy. The entire group spans about 10 million light-years. The solar wind is a stream of charged particles released from the Sun's corona. This plasma flows outwards at speeds of up to 900 kilometers per second, shaping the magnetospheres of planets and causing phenomena like auroras. It also defines the vast bubble of the heliosphere around our solar system. The Antikythera mechanisms is an ancient analog computer designed to predict astronomical positions. Discovered in a shipwreck off the coast of Greece, this complex clockwork device dates back to the 2nd century BC. It was used to track the movements of the Sun, Moon, and planets, and to predict eclipses. The Hoax objects is a rare and mysterious type of ring galaxy. It consists of a perfect ring of young, hot blue stars surrounding an older yellow nucleus, with almost nothing visible in the gap between them. But how this unusual structure formed is still a subject of debate among astronomers. The Oort clouds is a theoretical sphere of icy bodies surrounding the solar system. It is thought to be the source of long-period comets and extends out to nearly a light-year from the Sun, marking the edge of the Sun's gravitational influence. No object has ever been directly observed in the Oort cloud itself. The Starshot project aims to send tiny probes to Alpha Centauri, This breakthrough starshot initiative, backed by Yuri Milner and Stephen Hawking, plans to use a powerful ground-based laser to propel thousands of gram-sized nanocraft to 20% the speed of light. They could reach the nearest star system in about 20 years. The Penrose process is a theoretical way to extract energy from a rotating black hole. It involves dropping an object into the black hole's ergosphere, the region just outside the event horizon, and having it split in two. One piece falls into the black hole, while the other escapes with more energy than the original object had. The cosmic lens effect, or gravitational lensing, was first confirmed in 1919. During a solar eclipse, astronomer Arthur Eddington observed that starlight passing close to the sun was bent, just as predicted by Einstein's theory of general relativity. This proved that gravity can warp the fabric of space-time. The first beer brewed for space was created by an Australian brewery. Vostok Space Beer was specially formulated with reduced carbonation to be palatable in zero gravity, where the sense of taste is dulled. The company planned to test their brew on a commercial spaceflight. The Rosette Nebulas contains enough gas and dust to make 10,000 sun-like stars. This large, circular HT region is an active stellar nursery, with a central cluster of massive young stars whose radiation ionizes the surrounding gas, causing it to glow. It is located in the Monoceros region of the Milky Way. The Churyumov-Gerasimenko comet has a rubber ducky shape. The European Space Agency's Rosetta mission revealed that the comet is a contact binary formed from two separate, smaller objects that gently collided and stuck together. This gave it a distinct two-lobed appearance. The solar neutrino problem was a major discrepancy in astrophysics that lasted for decades. Experiments consistently detected only about one-third of the neutrinos predicted by models of the sun's interior. The puzzle was solved by the discovery that neutrinos can change flavor or type as they travel from the sun to the Earth. The first woman to serve as NASA's chief astronaut was Peggy Whitson. Appointed in 2009, she was responsible for managing the operations, safety, and well-being of the entire NASA astronaut corps. She is also one of the most experienced astronauts in history, holding multiple spaceflight records. The Laniakea supercluster is the galactic supercluster that is home to the Milky Way. Its name means immense heaven in Hawaiian, and it contains roughly 100,000 galaxies stretching over 520 million light-years. The Great Attractor is a central gravitational point within this massive structure. The first flight of a powered aircraft on another planet occurred in 2021. NASA's Ingenuity helicopter, carried to Mars by the Perseverance rover, successfully performed the first powered, controlled flight on another world. This technology demonstration paved the way for future aerial exploration of Mars. The Titus-Bode law is a now discredited hypothesis about the spacing of planets. This empirical formula, popular in the 18th century, correctly predicted the orbits of Ceres and Uranus, but failed for Neptune and Pluto. It is now considered a mathematical coincidence rather than a physical law. The Hubble constant describes the rate at which the universe is expanding. However, different methods of measuring this constant have yielded slightly different results, creating a Hubble tension in cosmology. This discrepancy may point to new physics beyond our current understanding of the universe. The Hennies-Worper is a mysterious, ghost-like astronomical object. Discovered by a Dutch schoolteacher as part of a citizen science project, this giant cloud of glowing gas is the light echo of a quasar from a nearby galaxy that has since faded. It is the first of a new class of objects now known as quasar ionization echoes. The first all-private crew of astronauts reached the ISS in 2022. The Axiom Mission 1, or AX-1, was the first mission to the International Space Station to be entirely crewed and operated by private citizens. This flight heralded a new era of commercial human spaceflight in low Earth orbit. A blue straggler is a star in a cluster that appears younger than its neighbors. These stars are hotter and bluer than other stars in the cluster that should have already evolved off the main sequence. It is thought they are formed either from the collision of two older stars or by siphoning mass from a binary companion. The galactic habitable zones is the region of a galaxy most likely to support life. This ring-shaped area is far enough from the violent galactic center to avoid intense radiation, but close enough to have a concentration of heavy elements needed for planet formation. The solar system is located comfortably within the Milky Way's galactic habitable zone. The space races unofficially ended with the Apollo-Soyuz test project in 1975. This mission involved the joint docking in orbit of an American Apollo capsule and a Soviet Soyuz capsule, with the astronauts and cosmonauts shaking hands through the hatch. It symbolized a new era of cooperation and a de-escalation of the Cold War rivalry in space. The interstellar medium is not empty but is filled with gas, dust, and cosmic rays. This material, found in the vast spaces between star systems in a galaxy, is the raw material from which new stars and planets are formed. Although extremely tenuous, it plays a crucial role in galactic evolution. The spacecraft's computer was first reprogrammed from Earth during the Apollo 14 mission. A faulty switch threatened to abort the lunar landing, but engineers at MIT frantically wrote a software patch to bypass the problem. The new code was read to the astronauts, who manually entered it into the Apollo guidance computer, saving the mission. The Great Observatories program is a series of 4 large NASA space telescopes. Each was designed to view the universe in a different wavelength of light: the Hubble or visible, the Compton or gamma ray, the Chandra or X-ray, and the Spitzer or infrared. Together, they have provided a revolutionary multi-wavelength view of the cosmos. Coronium was a hypothetical element once thought to exist in the sun's corona. In the 19th century, a mysterious green spectral line was observed in the corona that didn't correspond to any known element, leading to the proposal of coronium. It was later discovered that this line was actually from highly ionized iron, possible only in the corona's extreme temperatures. The first video game played in space was Tetris. In 1993, Russian cosmonaut Alexander Serebrov took his Nintendo Game Boy with him to the Mir space station. He spent his downtime playing Tetris, making it the first video game to be officially played in orbit. The twin paradox is a thought experiment in special relativity. It involves identical twins, one of whom makes a journey into space in a high-speed rocket and returns home to find that the twin who remained on Earth has aged more. This is due to the phenomenon of time dilation, where time passes slower for a moving observer. A Thorne-Techo object is a theoretical type of hybrid star. This bizarre object would consist of a neutron star that has been swallowed by a red giant or supergiant star, creating a stable star with a superdense core. While none have been definitively confirmed, a few candidates have been identified. A Thorne-Techo object is a theoretical type of hybrid star. This bizarre object would consist of a neutron star that has been swallowed by a red giant or supergiant star, creating a stable star with a superdense core. While none have been definitively confirmed, a few candidates have been identified. The first plant grown on the moon was a cottonseed. In 2019, China's Chang'e 4 lander, the first to land on the far side of the moon, carried a mini biosphere experiment. A cottonseed inside the sealed container successfully sprouted, becoming the first plant to grow on another world, though it died shortly after. The Kuiper Belt is a donut-shaped ring of icy objects beyond the orbit of Neptune. It is home to dwarf planets like Pluto, Eris, and Makemake, as well as trillions of comets and other small bodies. This region is a vast, frozen remnant of the solar system's formation. The cosmological constant was an idea Albert Einstein called his biggest blunder. He initially introduced it into his equations of general relativity to allow for a static universe, which was the prevailing view at the time. After the discovery of the expanding universe, he retracted it, but it has made a comeback as a possible explanation for dark energy. The first satellite to be intentionally destroyed by a missile was Solwind P-78-1. In 1985, the United States tested an anti-satellite or ASAT missile by launching it from an F-15 fighter jet to destroy a defunct solar research satellite. The test was successful, but created thousands of pieces of space debris. The WOW signal may have been caused by a hydrogen cloud from a passing comet. While the signal's origin remains unconfirmed, a 2017 study proposed that the strong, narrowband signal detected in 1977 could have been produced by the hydrogen cloud accompanying a comet. This terrestrial explanation would solve one of astronomy's most enduring mysteries. The ISS's water recycling system purifies urine into drinking water. The water recovery system is so efficient that it can recover about 93% of the water from sources like crew members' urine and sweat. Astronauts often joke that today's coffee is tomorrow's coffee. The Boots void is so empty that if the Milky Way were at its center, we wouldn't have known other galaxies existed until the 1960s. This colossal, nearly spherical region of space is almost 330 million light-years in diameter and contains only about 60 galaxies. The sheer scale of its emptiness continues to challenge our models of cosmic structure formation. The planet Mars is losing its water faster than previously thought. Observations from the ExoMars Trace Gas Orbiter have shown that water vapor is accumulating in large quantities at high altitudes, where it is more easily broken down by sunlight and lost to space. This process is accelerated during Martian dust storms. A hypervelocity star is a star ejected from its galaxy at incredibly high speeds. These stars are thought to be launched by interactions with the supermassive black hole at the center of the Milky Way, reaching speeds of millions of miles per hour. They are destined to wander alone in the darkness of intergalactic space. The first space-to-ground musical duet featured astronaut Cady Coleman and Ian Anderson of Jethro Tull. In 2011, Coleman played a flute aboard the ISS, while Anderson played his part on Earth, performing a portion of Boré. The event was organized to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Yuri Gagarin's historic flight. The first fatal accident during a space mission was the Soyuz 1 disaster in 1967. Soviet cosmonaut Vladimir Komarov was killed when the parachute system on his re-entry capsule failed, causing it to crash into the ground at high speed. The mission had been plagued by technical problems from the start. Tabby's star is so unusual that some have speculated its dimming is caused by an alien megastructure. Officially KIC 8462852, the star exhibits large irregular dips in brightness that are difficult to explain with natural phenomena like planets or dust clouds. While the leading scientific theory now points to dust, the alien hypothesis sparked immense public interest. The Great Unconformity is a missing billion years of rock record found worldwide, possibly caused by a cosmic event. This geological gap in sedimentary layers coincides with the period when complex life began to emerge, leading some scientists to theorize that the erosion was triggered by the extreme ice age of Snowball Earth. A more recent theory suggests this erosion may have been caused by the bombardment of the inner solar system during the formation of the gas giants. The first art museum on the Moon is a tiny ceramic tile called the Moon Museum. This small wafer, allegedly smuggled aboard the Apollo 12 lunar lander, contains miniature artworks from 6 prominent artists of the 1960s, including Andy Warhol. Its existence remains an unconfirmed but charming legend of the Apollo era. The most powerful rocket ever built was Saturn V. This super heavy lift vehicle, used by NASA for the Apollo and Skylab programs, stood 111 meters or 363 feet tall, and remains the only launch vehicle to have carried humans beyond low Earth orbit. Its first stage engines were so powerful, they registered on seismometers hundreds of miles away. The oldest known drawing of a total solar eclipse is a 50000-year-old petroglyph in Ireland. The Lough Crew Cairn L is a Neolithic tomb decorated with concentric circles and spiral patterns. One particular carving is believed to represent the solar eclipse that occurred on November 30th, 3340 BC. It rains diamonds on Jupiter and Saturn. Atmospheric data for these gas giants suggests that lightning storms turn methane into soot or carbon, which falls and hardens under immense pressure into graphite and then into diamonds. These diamond hailstones could be up to a centimeter in diameter before they eventually melt into a sea of liquid carbon deeper in the planet's cores. Venus rotates backwards compared to most other planets. This phenomenon, known as retrograde rotation, means that on Venus, the sun rises in the west and sets in the east. The reason for its unusual spin may be due to a massive collision in its distant past. A day on Venus is longer than its year. Venus takes about 243 Earth days to complete one rotation on its axis, but it only takes about 225 Earth days to orbit the Sun, making its sidereal day longer than its year. The largest known volcano in the solar system is on Mars. Olympus Mons is a shield volcano that is about 25 kilometers or 16 miles high, making it nearly 3 times the height of Mount Everest. Its base would cover most of the state of Arizona. There is a cosmic latte color for the universe. Astronomers averaged the light from over 200,000 galaxies and determined the average color of the universe is a beigeish white, which they dubbed cosmic latte. Space is not a complete vacuum. While it's emptier than any vacuum we can create on Earth, space contains a low density of particles, such as plasma of hydrogen and helium, as well as electromagnetic radiation and magnetic fields. The Sun makes up 99.86% of the solar system's mass. Everything else in our solar system, all the planets, moons, asteroids, and comets, constitutes just the remaining 0.14%. Neutron stars are so dense that a teaspoonful would weigh about 6 billion tons. These are the collapsed cores of massive supergiant stars, where gravitational pressure is so intense it crushes protons and electrons together to form neutrons. You can't cry in space the same way you do on Earth. Without gravity to pull them down, tears don't fall. Instead, they form a liquid blob around the astronaut's eye, which can sting and be irritating. The footprints on the moon will likely be there for 100 million years. Because the moon has no atmosphere, there is no wind or water to erode or wash away the Apollo astronauts' footprints. They will only be erased by the slow process of micrometeorite impacts. The Milky Way galaxy is on a collision course with the Andromeda galaxy. Don't worry, the collision is predicted to happen in about 4.5 billion years. The result will be a new giant elliptical galaxy, nicknamed Milkomeda. There is a giant cloud of alcohol in space. The Sagittarius B2 cloud, near the center of our galaxy, contains billions of liters of vinyl alcohol. Unfortunately, it's undrinkable as it's mixed with other chemicals like ethyl formate. The hottest planet in our solar system is Venus. Even though Mercury is closer to the Sun, Venus's thick atmosphere traps heat in a runaway greenhouse effect, causing surface temperatures of around 465 degrees Celsius or 869 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to melt lead. Uranus is tilted on its side. The planet has an axial tilt of 98 degrees, which means it essentially orbits the Sun on its side. This results in very long seasons, with each pole getting 42 years of continuous sunlight, followed by 42 years of darkness. If two pieces of the same type of metal touch in space, they will permanently bond. This process is called cold welding. On Earth, a layer of oxidation prevents this. But in the vacuum of space, the atoms of the two pieces have no way of knowing they are separate and joined together. The Sun's atmosphere is much hotter than its surface. The Sun's visible surface is about 5,500 degrees Celsius or 9,940 degrees Fahrenheit, but its outer atmosphere, the corona, can reach temperatures of over 2 million degrees Celsius. The reason for this coronal heating problem is still a topic of research. The largest known star would engulf Saturn's orbit. Zooey Scuti, a hypergiant star, has a radius about 1,700 times larger than our Sun's. If it were placed in the center of our solar system, its surface would extend out past the orbit of Jupiter. There's a planet believed to be made of diamond, an exoplanet named 55 Concreti, about 40 light-years away, is thought to be composed largely of carbon in a diamond form. It's twice the size of Earth and 8 times its mass. Saturn would float in water. Saturn is the least dense planet in our solar system. Its average density is less than that of water, so if you could find a bathtub big enough, the gas giant would float. The quietest place on Earth is still louder than space. Anechoic chambers on Earth can absorb over 99.99% of sound, but the near vacuum of space has so few particles that sound waves cannot propagate at all, making it truly silent. A year on Mercury is only 88 Earth days long. Being the closest planet to the Sun, Mercury zips around our star much faster than any other planet. The Moon is drifting away from Earth. The Moon is moving away from our planet at a rate of about 3.8 centimeters or 1.5 inches per year due to the tidal interaction between the Earth and the Moon. The Great Red Spot on Jupiter is a storm larger than Earth. This giant anticyclonic storm has been raging for at least 190 years, and at its widest is more than twice the diameter of our planet. It has, however, been shrinking for the last century. There is water ice on the poles of Mercury. Despite being very close to the Sun, the poles of Mercury have permanently shadowed craters where temperatures are low enough for water ice to exist. The Voyager 1 spacecraft is the most distant human-made object. Launched in 1977, it entered interstellar space in 2012 and continues to send back data from over 24 billion kilometers or 15 billion miles away. The universe has no center. According to the Big Bang Theory, the universe is expanding everywhere at once. There isn't a central point from which everything is moving away. Instead, the fabric of space-time itself is stretching. A galactic year is the time it takes our solar system to orbit the Milky Way's center. This journey takes about 230 million Earth years to complete. The last time Earth was in its current position, dinosaurs were just beginning to appear.